You've got a tune to KEXP, listener-powered radio at 90.3 FM in Seattle, streaming around the world at kexp.org. I'm Cheryl Waters, down in the KEXP studios with Kelly Lee Owens. It's so wonderful to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Pleasure to be here.
She's playing tonight at the Capitol Hill Block Party at 8:15, and delighted to have you playing songs from your self-titled record. It's Kelly Lee Owens live on KEXP. So beautiful. Live here in the KEXP studios, it's Kelly Lee Owens ahead of her show tonight at the Capitol Hill Block Party. That's at 8:15. I absolutely love this record so much. It is entrancing and enchanting. And that song you just played was the first song that I ever heard by you. And I think that's such a great introduction to your music.
Yeah, thank you. It's the first track, on my album. For some reason that resonated as being the first thing I wanted people to hear, so...
Your music's very detailed in terms of production, and today you're doing everything. Do you write, create, put everything together in your records? Because a lot of people don't know how much work goes into that.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I kind of, the fact that, I'm using my real name, Kelly Lee Owens, and that it's just self-titled, I wanted it to be as much of me as possible. So I ended up writing, producing, arranging, really going in on the production. I love automation and detail, and I don't want myself to get bored, so that was kind of my main thing, And a lot of people say it's been on repeat for them, which is kind of, I feel an achievement in 2018, so.
It is so beautiful, and it seems like over time you learned more and more. Have there been people along the way that have kind of helped you along and taught you things? I hear that Daniel Avery is someone that's in your life, and I heard he's got a pretty cool little studio, little being the word.
Yeah, totally. He, because I did Drone Logic with him and wrote on that album a tiny bit, he offered me his studio for free for 2 years to create my own, which is the greatest gift I think anyone can be given if they want to make their own music. So him, and also James Greenwood, who's Ghost Culture, he and Dan introduced me to the world of analog production, and then I just got to use all these incredible toys and synths and things in the studio. So yeah, it was an amazing experience for a first record.
That is amazing to have access to something like that. What's the environment like when you're writing music, when you're creating these songs?
What's the what, sorry?
The environment like. Do you write them in the studio or?
I write, I'd say lyrics or words everywhere, and also I've started to I used to sample stuff on my iPhone because there's a decent enough condenser mic, so I'd be inspired by sounds everywhere. So sometimes it would be that place I'd start, but yeah, basically turning up on the day and seeing what came, and I think that's the thing, it's just flowed naturally. And at least with the first record, I didn't have to think about really in a way what anyone else would think. I was totally and utterly making it for myself. So there's an honesty and a transparency perhaps in the music in that way.
You said that you're inspired by sound. Are you capturing some of those found sounds?
Totally. Yeah, so many. I mean, there's really random stuff on my EP. There's a track where I recorded a prawn cracker melting into hot soup. No word of a lie.
My goodness.
Sounds crazy, but it kind of makes an incredible sound. And there's so many sounds that are just, it will inspire so much from me. So I'm that kind of nerd who's, recording the escalator and the tempo and the BPMs everywhere I go. And now I have a condenser mic, which I can plug into my phone. So it's portable and it's giving me lots of joy and fun at the moment.
It's a very honest and direct record, and I feel like each of the songs has a different mood. Was there a thread that tied them together for you, lyrically or sonically?
I think the production is the thing probably that ties it together. And really, I only ended up using a couple of things, really, a Monopoly, Korg Monopoly synth, dark time sequencer, and a few other bits, some plugins. Definitely the strings were plugins, but Abbey Road, Mellotron with that warmth. And then I kind of literally put that through an amp. So there's always some kind of real analog thing happening. Even if I'm using plugins, I have to kind of make them have more warmth and life and humanness to them.
Well, that makes me think about how meditative and spiritual your music is. And I know that's something that's very important in your life. I feel like this record is just one big sound bath. Can you talk a little bit about how that, is a part of your life and how it made it into this record?
Well, during the making of the record, I was getting more and more into gong sound baths. And that, in a way, opened me up to resonant frequencies more than I'd ever really heard or listened to before. There's so much to explore in that world. So doing the gong sound bath, I mean, actually the first track I just played, 8, that was the last track I made, and that was 2 days before the master. So I made it and mixed it 2 days before and handed that in. And that was kind of, I would say, the first true reflection of those healing frequencies and resonant frequencies, really coaxing them out of the MS-20, which is what I recorded that on mostly. Obviously the tempura, which is an incredible instrument. It was just a tempura box, but people use that to meditate. So the length of it is this hypnotic kind of drawn out thing. And I just hope that people are kind of lying in the dark somewhere listening to it, or walking or something, and gaining something positive from it.
You should get it out there sort of in the meditation world.
Yeah,
And,
I'm going to be like the new Enya.
Yeah, any revenue source you can get is good. Keep you making more music. KEXP for the last few years has had a series on air called Music Heals, and we have had days where we invite the community to share stories about how music have helped them. And we started with one called Cancer Heals, and now we've done a couple on addiction, mental health. And you have talked a lot about music and healing. I have heard that you worked in a cancer treatment hospital when you were before you were making music, or maybe while you were also making music. So you clearly see that connection between music and healing.
Absolutely. I mean, just in a kind of basic sense, music has helped me personally so much. We all have those moments where we know songs can save lives, but it does go deeper than that, I feel. And like I say, getting into the gong sound baths and other things are kind of led me into that world of understanding that direct connection and wanting to go a lot deeper. And so I'm still looking at this exhibition that I want to create on the relationship between sound and healing. And I do remember, the thing that really triggered it was, I think it was a TED talk where they said that they could shatter cancer cells with specific resonant frequencies, like pain-free, non-invasive treatment. And for children specifically, with cancer, that would be incredible. So that just sparked so many ideas, and I wanted to present to the world how that could be the medicine of the future, ultimately. And I know we have pharmaceutical companies and all these other things to kind of get past, but I think people are coming together to look for other ways, and I think that's really inspiring.
It is inspiring. Well, it sounds like you're super busy. I've also read that you're interested in working with helping women produce themselves, which you've been able to do, and a lot of people feel intimidated and blocked by that.
Definitely. I think for some reason, I guess it's society, the kind of way it's been constructed, women kind of learn to doubt themselves almost, and I just want to break past that. And I literally throw myself into things and just kind of hope for the best. And definitely learned that the place that brings you almost the most fear is exactly where you should go, because it's the thing you want the most, like making a record. That was terrifying to me. And making a second one in some ways is still terrifying, but that's because I care so much. And it means so much to me. So I figure that's a good place to begin.
That is. And fear can hold all of us back. And when you lean into it, it's so exciting what can happen. But it's hard. It is.
But that's okay. I think we have such a limited time here. And I think that we have to use it well. And I would never regretted having tried. And that was something that the cancer patients taught me. Being around people at the end of their lives was actually the most inspiring thing, because it inspires you to live. And I know that sounds cheesy, but it's the truth. And it's kind of as simple as that.
It is inspiring. We're live here in the KEXP studios. It's Kelly Lee Owens. Her self-titled debut came out last year. Tonight she plays at the Capitol Hill Block Party and has a couple more songs for us.
Don't you see it? come to believe family and reality, and keeping it together, keeping it together. This is the narrative of reality.
Oh, that sounds sublime. Kelly Lee Owens live on KEXP playing songs from her self-titled debut album, came out last year. Two of my favorites, Lucid, and do you say that Anxi?
Anxi, yeah.
And
It's a kind of made-up word, really, but yeah.
And I love Jenny Hval. Sounds so fantastic on that song.
She's incredible, like true artist, yeah. Love her.
Well, as are you. Thank you so much for coming in today, and folks will be excited to see you at the Capitol Hill Block Party tonight. Your set's at 8:15. We so appreciate you stopping by today.
Thank you so much for having me. Pleasure. Thank you.
It's Kelly Lee Owens live on KEXP Seattle. Discover great music at kexp.org.